welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you're new here, my name is Kaylee. I am a dedicated nail technician that is passionate about nail art while manifesting my dream life as a licensed nail educator. I am so happy to share with you guys that I just passed my first state board test to become a licensed nail educator. I took my practical and your girl passed. Oh, I'm just so happy. Thank you guys for clicking on today's YouTube video and for joining class. Today we're going to be learning how to pick up the perfect bead. But before we get started, I did want to share some exciting news. I did just release my Art of Nail Technology ebook that is a 185-page ebook that is packed with insightful foundational knowledge for your success as a nail tech. This 185-page ebook is based on what you will learn in nail school. It is a great way for you to see if the nail industry is for you before investing thousands and thousands, up to $20,000s of dollars in nail school or cosmetology school. My ebook starts out with the most important, all about the mindset. I truly believe that your personality shapes your personal reality, and it all comes down to your thoughts. This ebook will introduce you to having a mindset shift of success and growth that is vital as a nail tech. Then we dive into the most important part as a nail technician, and that is proper safety and infection control. I believe that you are the divine source of your business, and by keeping your space and yourself safe and clean, you are guaranteeing your success as a nail tech. To mention, the foundational root part of your business are your lovely clients, and we want to ensure that we do the utmost to take care and maintain their safety. After all, they're coming to you to get slayed, so you want to make sure you give them that peace of mind that they will be protected and leave with a slayed nail set safely. Then we continue to explore everything you need to know as a nail tech, including proper nail prep so that way your nails last for as long as possible and quality is your #1 standard. How to prep for a client, including client consultation, nail anatomy and diseases. It will give you key information on everything you need to know about acrylic so you are a master at your work. It then also breaks down how I do my own filing techniques to ensure slayed nails. And right now, you can get this 185-page ebook for 55% off. That's $125 in savings. For less than $1 a page, you can start your career as a nail tech. Not to mention, after you purchase my ebook, you will receive a personalized email from me with a free gift that is a client bundle. It includes client release forms, photo forms, client consultation forms, and so much more. Because I truly believe that you guys are worthy of all of your desires and your dream life, because that potential is ready to be shined out. So thank you for trusting me in your nail journey and letting me be a part of this beautiful path that you are on. This is also a way to come into my personal community where I will be hosting free webinars in the future, expanding courses, interactive on all online courses, and even mentorships. You will get VIP access and discounted opportunities for everything else coming up, as well as some fun products. And honestly, even if you're just watching my video, subscribing and liking, that means the entire world. And I thank you so much for even letting me be a part of your journey and taking your time to attend a nail class. And I am so proud of you for even taking the time to click on a video and wanting to expand and grow your knowledge and your mindset as a nail technician. So I want you to give yourself a big ol' hug. When's the last time you gave yourself a hug? And tell yourself, I'm so proud of you. And let's get into the acrylic tutorial. If you guys have been keeping up with this series, then you know that the last class we learned everything about prep. And now you're ready to start working with acrylic. I am going to be splitting this video into 2 separate videos because I really want you to digest, ponder, and practice these next practices and knowledge that you will be gaining. This video is all about acrylic bead ratio and the proper ratio for an acrylic nail. Okay loves, before we get started and before we dive into it, there are some things that we must understand and we must comprehend. We're going to be working with chemicals. Anything that you are overexposed to can cause toxicity, meaning the chemicals itself are not toxic. It's just the fact that you're being overexposed to those chemicals that cause it to be toxic. So with that being said, we're going to make sure that we have enough ventilation in our room, in our area, while we work and do nails. Having a door or a window open is not going to be enough ventilation for your area. That being said, I do recommend you to invest into an air purifier. I do recommend getting one that is meant more for nails rather than one for a home. I do have some options available on my Amazon storefront that are very effective and I've been using for quite some time now. What the air purifier does, it sucks up all the vapors, the smell, and releases more clean air, and it does a ventilation system like that. You want to make sure that you do clean out the filter regularly, especially as a nail tech. There's going to be a ton of dust in there. This here is my nail desk area from up above. Don't mind my one hand not being done, that's how you know I'm a nail content creator. But when it comes to your working area, the area that is called your breathing zone, because your head and your face is right here, and we want to keep this area clean and free from any dust or vapors that can be overexposing us. Let's say your client hands are right over here. You're not going to want to have all your products right in front of you, because this is clearly all in your breathing zone. This sphere right here around you is going to be all filled with from the vapor of the monomer. So what we're going to do, if you're left-handed, you're going to put all your products to your left-hand side for easier access. If you're right-handed, same over here too. Have all your products to the side of you. So that way, then your breathing area is nice and clear. Your client's hands are here. You have area to do your content. This is the tripod, and this is how I use it. Sideways. You have your area to do your nail content, and it looks nice and clean, and that's what we want to portray, especially through our content, is that our area is nicely sanitized and safe and clean. So then that way, when you pick up your beads, your arm is out here. And another tip that I will give you guys, grab some foil. You want to put some foil down on your desk underneath your paper towel, so that way your nail table doesn't soak up any of the monomer smell, because most likely it is porous. The foil ensures that it does not get soaked up, and it allows to discard our soiled paper towel easily by folding it over and throwing it away in a metal trash can with a lid. If you have a plastic trash can, the plastic can potentially also absorb the smell over time, leaving yourself to be overexposed constantly. You guys did see that I am using the blue paper towels. I love these automotive blue paper towels because they soak up literally everything. Your problems, your anxiety, your monomer, it soaks up everything. So that's why I love these. I recommend buying in bulk. So I did a beautiful nail set, and I have some glitter in my monomer. So I'm going to be disposing of my monomer because she is contaminated with product. So you definitely do not want to throw this down the sink or down your toilet. No, that's no good. How we're going to do that, how we're going to dispose of this, is grab a paper towel that I just like fold, and you're going to let this soak up in the paper towel all the way. And then I like to, since it was fine glitter, I'm going to just clean my dapping dish. And she is nice and clean. Now with the soiled paper towel, put it in a piece of foil, and fold it over. And you can easily just, before we officially dive into the acrylic, let's go over our acrylic brush. You always want to purchase a Kayllc brush, and that is sable hair. My favorite brush to use is the Kiara Sky brush. She is just absolutely beautiful and works so well. My go-to is a size 12. I recommend 10 for beginners, and I personally don't like going too much up or so much bigger, because then the tip of the brush gets too wide to actually seal in that cuticle. I do ask them to crimp my brush, and this is that little line that you see right here. I don't recommend you doing this on your own. Just go to a nail store, they do it for you free of charge, and that way it gives you more of an oval shaped brush, which is easier to pick up your beads as a beginner. It is so much easier to pick up your beads and to maintain the shape of your brush. When we refer to the tip of the acrylic brush, it's going to be this tip right here. This is what seals in that cuticle and blends the acrylic. The belly of the brush is going to be the chubby part of the brush. And since our brush is nice and happy, she has a nice little belly. To remind you guys, we are going to be dealing with chemicals. We're going to make sure that we have the proper ratio, because just like baking a cake or baking cookies, if you use too much liquid, your cookie will not come out well. If you use too much powder, your cookie will come out dry and not structured well. So when somebody wants to tell you that being a nail tech is not a real career, baby girl, you're pretty much a chemist, a scientist. You're mixing chemicals to make sure that they are the proper amount. You create a chemical reaction called polymerization, which then forms acrylic. So don't let anybody tell you that your job is not a real career. There's so much there is to know about acrylic, but all you need to know is that the liquid is called monomer and the powder is called polymer. Together, they form a chemical reaction called polymerization. The powder can come in many different sizes. I recommend bulk size always, but they come in different sizes for you to use. My favorite monomer to use for beginners is the Mia Secret monomer because she works very well with many different type of brands. I do also love the Young Nails monomer. It is not as strong of a smell, so this one does have a little bit of a stronger smell. When it comes to pouring your monomer, you want to put your brush and have the spout of the monomer touch your brush, so that way when you pour it, it easily runs down the brush. Because we are working with chemicals, there's some things you must remember and keep in mind. And the biggest thing is to wipe your brush before putting it back into the liquid. That is the #1 rule. The reason why is because your beautiful Kayllc brush is going to get gunked up and full of acrylic if you do not wipe your brush on your paper towel before you submerge it back into the monomer. So just try to remember that force of habit. Wipe before putting back into the monomer. This also does not mean to wipe your brush a lot or excessively. It is a simple wipe on each side. Also remember, keep in mind, wherever your brush is crimped, that's exactly where you want to work with it. For example, when you swipe on your dapping dish, you want to swipe where it is crimped, where it is flat. When you wipe, you want to wipe where it is flat. If you do it the opposite side, then you can see how it clearly messes up your brush and it makes it look all ugly. This will cause acrylic to get stuck in there. So keep in mind, you want to make sure that you wipe where it is crimped. That's why I like to get my brushes crimped for my beginners, so that way they don't get confused when it's all round. Now that we know some basic foundational information, now we can dive into our products. So when it comes to submerging our brush in monomer, there's some things I want you guys to keep in mind. First step is we're going to burp the brush. We're going to push some pressure all the way down to the heel of the Kayllc brush, so that way it releases the air bubbles from the brush. You're going to flip it around and do the same thing to the other side. And that's why we call it burping our brush, because we're releasing the air from our brush. Now that you have your brush fully submerged, this is simply too much liquid to pick up a bead. Once you have burped your brush, you're going to put your pinky down as a balance, and you're going to wipe one side of the brush ever so gently. You want to make sure that you do not apply too much pressure and bend the brush, because then you over drained your brush. Let's see that one more time. Burp it. Then you're going to swipe from heel all the way to the tip without applying too much pressure. You're going to then flip your brush around, and you're going to tap the tip against the rim of the dapping dish. And you're going to be doing this every time you pick up a bead. Burp, swipe, tap. Burp, swipe, tap. Always, always. Once you pick up your powder, then you're going to release and wipe it before putting it back into the monomer. I swear, in your sleep, you're going to be burp, swipe, tap, release, and wipe. Burp, swipe, tap, release, and wipe. One more time. Burp, swipe, tap, release, and wipe. Now that we know how to submerge our brush into the monomer, we're going to learn how to pick up the bead. Let's first learn what we're not going to do. What we're not going to do is stab the brush into the monomer. That's not what we're going to do, because it will get both sides of your brush full of acrylic, leaving you with no control. Wipe it before putting it back in. Another thing we're not going to do is we are not going to be swiping it all the way across our powder, because then it leaves you with a very uneven bead and not the proper ratio mix. Wipe it before putting it back in. Now that we know what not to do, let's go over what we are going to do. You're going to burp it, you're going to swipe it, tap, you're going to lay your pinky down, and we're going to bounce it and then dance with it. Bounce it and then dance with it. What are we going to do? We're going to bounce it, then we're going to dance with it. And that will give you the perfect ratio bead for an acrylic nail. We're going to release it, and we're going to wipe our brush. So one more time, what are we going to do? You guys got the burp, you guys got the swipe, you guys got the tap. Bounce it and dance 2 times. Take a 2-step. Now let's go into our beads. There's going to be 3 sizes of beads that we're going to be learning. A big bead, a medium bead, and a small bead. Some beginners may think that a small bead goes on the pinky and a big bead goes on the middle finger, but in reality, we use all 3 beads for one nail. The big bead covers the nail tip, the medium bead covers the apex, the middle part, highest point of the nail, and the small bead covers the cuticle. That is why we have to make sure we know exactly how to pick up each size. We're going to start with the most common size bead, and that is a medium size bead. I definitely recommend all my beginners to work with medium size beads and leave the big beads a little further down your nail journey, just because it is a little bit difficult to pick up a big bead, but I will give you some tips and pointers on how to distinguish each three. I personally learn by I need to know how each three vary on the pressure, the amount of liquid, the angle of my brush, so that way I can ensure my success as a nail tech for every single nail set. So let's go over the medium bead. Yes, the amount of liquid partially determines the size of your bead, but also the angle of your brush is going to determine the size of your bead. With that being said, when you lay your brush flatter down on your powder, you allow more surface contact area of the brush to the powder, meaning you're gonna have overall a larger bead. So if this is 90, half is 45, half of that is about 15. So with the medium bead, you're going to be laying it at a 45-degree angle, just enough to allow surface contact area with partially belly and tip of your brush. We're gonna learn how to pick up a medium bead. Burp, swipe, flip over, tap, and at a 45-degree angle, you're going to bounce, dance 2 times. This will give you the perfect medium-sized bead. When you release it, try to release it by not swiping it. Simply put it down on your paper towel. It may be hard at first, but just give it some time to release, and you have your beautiful medium-sized bead. You see this product on your brush? If you go back into your monomer is gonna turn really slimy and really hard to work with. So remember to wipe your brush before putting it back in. So one more time, we're going to burp it, swipe, tap at a 45-degree angle with your pinky down, bounce and dance 2 times. And you have your beautiful bead ratio. She is enough to stay in shape, but also glossy and beautiful so you can still work with it. When you release it, put it so that way it keeps its shape. I like touch right here. And then you have your other medium bead. I try to have them all as consistently sized as possible. Now that we know medium bead, we're going to go over how to do a small bead. So when it comes to a small bead, we don't want as much liquid in our brush, and we want the angle to be higher. So we're going to burp it, swipe, flip around, and do a half swipe. So that way you just release a little bit more monomer. Go at a higher 90-degree angle. You're gonna bounce and dance 2 times. And here you have your small, beautiful little bead. Put her down to release. Once your area on your paper towel gets too full, then you can move to a different area to start wiping, so that way your brush also doesn't get gunked up with product. Burping it, swiping it, and a swipe. And at a 90-degree angle, we're going to bounce and dance 2 times. And then we're going to be releasing it onto our paper towel. And there is our small bead. One more time. Burp, swipe, flip over, swipe. I like to make my powder smooth. We're going to bounce and dance 2 times. And there is our beautiful small beads. Now that you guys know how to pick up a small bead, we're going to go over how to pick up a big bead. Mind you guys, beginners do struggle with this, so give yourself some grace. Not a lot of beginners can do a big bead, so give yourself some time to practice. Let's go over some tips on how to pick up a bigger bead. We're going to burp it, our brush. We're going to softly swipe. We're going to flip around, and we're not going to tap. So that way most of that liquid is right there and can pick up more of a bigger bead. We're going to lay our brush flatter down at a 15-degree angle, and we're going to bounce and dance 2 times. And you have your bigger bead. I'm going to be releasing her. You should be able to tell the difference between the big bead, the medium bead, and the small bead. We're going to burp, softly swipe, flip over, but do not tap, and that is where you will pick up. You're going to bounce and dance 2 times. And there is your beautiful big bead. Releasing it onto the paper towel. And there's my big bead. Gonna burp it, swipe it softly, flip around, do not tap. Then I'm gonna pick up my bead where I did not tap. I'm going to bounce my brush and dance 2 times. I'm gonna let her polymerize all the way, but this is how beautiful she looks. Releasing it onto your paper towel. Another thing you can tell with my beads is that you don't have a big puddle around every single bead, because that means that you use too much monomer. When you're done using your acrylic brush, I do recommend you to use a brush cleaner to soak into your brush and just softly wipe all the residue off of your brush. I do highly recommend to clean your brush after every single use. If you do not have brush cleaner, that is okay. I do not want to sound like a hypocrite, but I actually never use brush cleaner and my brushes last me at least a year. What I do is I do soak in my brush in acetone. Make sure that the acetone does not touch the bristles meet the metal, because you can risk it getting very loose. Just the tip of your bristles soaking, especially if you constantly wiped your brush before putting it back into the monomer, you won't have as much gunked up in there. After you soak it into the acetone, you have to make sure that you submerge it again, burping your brush inside of monomer, because it reconditions the brush. If you use just acetone, you will mess up your brush and it will become frayed and dry, and that's not what we want. I do see some nail techs recommend putting some cuticle oil on your brush. I personally have never done that, so I will have to come back and see, because I'm not sure how well the oil and the monomer would mix. So I personally, just using a little bit of chemical logic, I would not put cuticle oil on my brush, because you don't want it to mix up with your monomer and your polymer and mess up the reaction in your nail. I can actually see how that would actually cause some lifting. You also want to make sure that when you store your brush, you do not store it standing up, because more than likely there's still some liquid in your brush and it's going to go down into the metal and it's going to mess up the tightness of the bristles and you're going to be shedding a bunch of bristles. The most convenient way is storing it upside down. There are some really cute little brush holders that you could put on your wall or on your desk, so that way your brush is upside down. Or if your brush has a cap, then store that upside down as well. If you do not have any of that, that's definitely okay. Just put down a paper towel in your desk and just have your brush flat in your desk, so that way the bristle stays nice and intact. So dark and moisture does cause mold and fungus, but since it is a chemical, no need to worry about that. It pretty much self-cleans itself. I get a lot of questions asking me, Kaylee, what's the best way I can improve my timing with my acrylic application or get more of a flawless acrylic application? And I will always recommend you to pull out a little sheet of foil, pull out your paper towel, and do as many beads as you can. Have them all as consistently sized as possible. Use a paper towel for your wiping and use a paper towel for your beads. 10 big beads, 10 medium beads, 10 small beads. You're gonna actually notice that you're not using that much monomer, you're not using that much powder, but yet you technically made a full set of nails. So that also will help you with your cost of products, the efficiency of it, and how fast you can do nails, because you can set up a timer for a minute and challenge yourself to see how many beads can I get in 1 minute. Next round, you're gonna challenge yourself to do 2 more beads than the last time, and so on and so on. That means your acrylic application is going to be so quick. You're gonna have that muscle memory on burp, swipe, tap, angles, pressure, all of that. If you do not want to practice on a paper towel, my ebook does come with a nice little practice sheet, so that way you can also even download, print it out, and laminate it or put it in a nice paper cover. But remind you guys, you just need foil, paper towel to practice. So I do not want any excuses or anything, guys. It is so possible to work and elevate your skills as a nail tech. I want to challenge you guys, even after watching this video, to see how many beads you can get in 1 minute and actually see, wow, I'm pretty dang fast. I'm pretty good. Let me beat this. You want to make sure that none of them have air bubbles and they all look as consistently sized as possible. That is literally what I would do as a beginner. I may not have had clients, but I would use that 2 hours to practice just my beads. I would have like paper towels of beads, and it is not a waste. This is not a waste of products. This is making your skills so much better, so that way you can make that $150 nail set. Practice does not make perfect, but practice makes progress, and I want you to keep practicing so that way you can get as much progress so it seems like perfection. And that brings us to the end of today's video. I want to thank you guys so much for giving me your time to give you a little bit of a refresher or a nice boost of information for you guys. I did just want to thank you guys again. I did just want to show you guys my deepest gratitude for all of the love and support being shown on my social media. Guys, we literally hit 85,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Like, next thing you know, I'm gonna have the plaque right behind me. I honestly am so grateful for you guys for joining my journey and trusting me with your career as a nail tech and to give you the proper information and the knowledge. I cannot wait to come back and tell you that I'm fully licensed and ready to take over the nail world. I'm just kidding, guys. I can feel all of you guys' love being shown to me, and I honestly hope that you feel all the love I give back within the quality of my content, making sure that you guys are entertained, have some education, or inspired. It really means the world. Seriously. And if you haven't subscribed yet, join the community, join this loving, beautiful nail community, and let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see. I am always open to film what you guys want to see as well. And if you're still watching, comment one of your biggest dreams, one of your biggest nail dreams. That could be anything. My biggest nail dream is to own my beautiful beauty suites and share a space with more amazing, loving artists that are dedicated to the improvement of themselves and their business and career. That is my ultimate dream, and my heart literally glows anytime I think about it or put any thought and energy into it. So let me know, what is one of your deepest desires, your deepest dreams? That could be anything, not even nail related. It could be anything. I hope you guys have a wonderful practice session with your acrylic beads and a wonderful rest of your day. And if nobody's told you today, I love you and I appreciate you just for being you and just for being here. I love you so much. Bye guys.